Hello, everyone, and welcome to the June 10th regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Vegreville. Call this meeting to order at 7:01. First up will be look for a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions from the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, I'll need a motion for the adoption of the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillor Curtis. Any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. There you go. Just so everybody knows that Councillor Wawa is joining us on, what do we call this? Online, Confero. Okay, thank you. Okay, first up is a supplemental. We have a letter from Bernie's Hotshot. To Town Council, this email is in regards to Bernie's Hotshot tax notice. When I received the notice, I noticed a substantial increase due to the fact that I never submitted the small business tax incentive form. What Kara explained to me, I apologize. I didn't think I had to submit one every year. Please reconsider the tax incentive for me, and I will make sure it never happens again. I will wait patiently for your response. Regards, Bernie Feschuk. I'll take a motion to receive and file on this one first. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments? I'll start with Councillor Bullock.
Okay, so every small business has to apply for this incentive every year. That is what is stated in that bylaw that we made. We would have to apply for it every year. I know that we did an extensive online campaign for this, as all social media, and there was a talk of the town that was done as well. I don't know if it was in the paper, I don't remember, but it was in the paper? Okay. All right, thank you. So I don't know what more we could do to make sure everybody knows about this. Do we send it out with the utility bills as part of that scoop? Yes.
Yes, Councillor. It was included in the scoop, which would have been sent out with the utility bills as well. It was a part of the ECDEV discourse, which through the Infrastructure Planning and Development Department, every business that has provided us with a email is a part of that monthly newsletter. So I believe it was also in the November and December editions of the ECDEV discourse, which would have been emailed to them directly.
Okay, yeah, I believe it was too. I remember reading that.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
Is it possible, I know that you had told us not too long ago what percentage of our businesses are small business, and of those, how many or what percentage proportion has actually applied for the incentive?
Unfortunately, Director Saskew has that information. Hopefully she's watching and she'll get me that via text right away. But at this point, I can't be sure with the numbers. I have some floating around in my head, but I want to wait till they're accurate. But we have seen a substantial drop this year in those that have applied. And while I know we did an extensive education process the first year we brought them out, brought out the small business tax incentive, we continue to run a campaign in the fall reminding small businesses that they need to reapply every year.
Go ahead.
So I'll look forward to finding that out in a bit. I guess I understand that we don't want this to be onerous on our staff. At the same time, an incentive is intended for those that it applies to. So I'd want to be sure that we're actually offering an incentive that the majority of small businesses are actually accessing. It seems like we've done a lot of reach out and education, but if we're still not reaching the mark, maybe there's another way that we can do this. If they're applying for their business license every year, perhaps there's a way as part of that reapplication, that they're able to do that at one stop because they need to get their business license, and maybe that coincides at the right time to be able to qualify for that as well. But I'll look forward for that data in the future.
Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
And has Bernie's Hot Shot applied for this before?
Yes, they applied the previous year.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Councillor Lemko.
Yes, Your Worship. Just for information, why is it necessary to apply yearly?
The bylaw is set up for an annual application process because we don't, it's too hard for us to track all the small businesses. There's stipulations around the small business tax, i.e. you have to have 50 or 49 or less employees to be able to qualify for it. And it's too onerous on the admin staff to verify all these businesses without them applying.
So it's tied to our bylaw then?
It's tied to the bylaw, and they, again, we don't understand, like, we don't know their business, and if you happen to have a business that's very cyclical, where some years are better than others, one year you may have 55 employees, year you may have 38. We don't know this, hence the application process.
Okay, so no matter how we look at this, we're offering 18% is what it is.
I think
It used to be
it's-
20, I think it's, or whatever the number is. A tax incentive for small businesses under 50 employees. But it's not up to the town of Vegreville to phone every business and collect out all the data that's need to be filled out on the form. And that's just the way that this incentive is set up. I mean, I know that we've gone overboard with trying to deliver our message on this incentive using all forms of media. We've included it on all of our social media sites. You see, IP&D reaches out through email contacts to encourage the businesses that gave us this information to take advantage of it. I know for ourselves, we've been out meeting with businesses and asked them, have you applied for it? No. Well, are you going to? Yeah, I'm going to. I mean, this is really not the fault of the town. And it's not for us to give somebody a tax incentive. Our employees shouldn't be the ones doing all the work. That, I mean, we have to draw the line someplace. If you would like to be part of this tax incentive, you need to fill out the form. And I know that every department in this town has gone over and above to remind the citizens, especially those in businesses, that it's on them to do this. So, I mean, and it's funny, we've talked to people and they've said, yeah, I'm doing it. And then when we get the final numbers, they didn't do it. I mean, I don't know what more it would take for us other than to say that we will phone every business, we will fill out every form to make sure that they're going to receive. That's just a lot of work for our staff. So in regards to Mr. Feschek's letter, we're sorry. And again, hopefully this incentive will be here again next year. And hopefully that more business owners that are watching today or talking will understand that they need to apply for it. Go ahead, Councillor Rudy.
Sorry, I just thought it might be helpful for those that are watching. What is the date that is the deadline for applying for a small business?
December 31st, I'm pretty sure.
It's the last business day of the calendar year. So I was just actually looking at the ECDEV Discourse, that monthly newsletter the Economic Development Department sends out. So in this past year's case, it would have been Friday, December 29th at 4:30 p.m. And in order to be eligible, an employer must have fewer than 50 full-time employees within Canada as of November 30th of the preceding tax year. But the deadline to apply is typically the last business day of that calendar year.
Okay, any more comments? Okay, all those in favor, receive and file. Carried, thank you. Next up, CAO Ling.
All right, the next up that we have is also a supplemental. It is a request for council decision regarding the Alberta Munis Award of Excellence nomination. So the proposal is to nominate Councillor Tanine Rudick for the AB Municipal Award of Excellence.
Keep going.
The AB Munis Award of Excellence is awarded to past and present elected officials to recognize outstanding civic leadership. Councillor Tanine Rudick has exemplified leadership on a local, provincial, and national level. She has served as a municipal councillor for the town of Vegreville for the past 14 years, an NDP candidate for the Fort Saskatchewan-Vegreville MLA election in 2023, and various roles for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the FCM board, including president of FCM in 2022-2023. Councillor Rudick's continuous advocacy for Vegreville residents and rural municipalities undoubtedly positions her as a clear frontrunner for this award. The nomination submission deadline is June 14th, 2024. A complete nomination form must include an approved resolution of council in support of the nomination. There are no financial implications on this RCD, and the communication strategy is that administration will include the resolution details for the nomination application. Awards will be presented during the fall of 2024. So the recommendation is that Town Council nominate Councillor Tanine Rudick for the Alberta Municipalities Award of Excellence.
I'll need a motion for the recommendation. Oh, Councillor Lemko. Any discussion? Councillor Barry, you want to go first?
Thank you, Your Worship. I certainly think that this is an excellent nomination. I think that Councillor Rudick has demonstrated over her 14 years dedication to this community, but also to see the work and the labor that she's put into other functions across Canada is incredible. So I definitely support this.
Excellent. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well-deserved nomination. I know every chance you get, you bring up Vegreville on a national stage, and it's much appreciated, and you do quite a bit with FCM, with the town of Vegreville, all over the place. So, well-deserved.
Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Well, it's been interesting watching you over the past few years, even before I was on council, and seeing the drive and all the good you do for the community. So much well-deserved to be nominated for this.
Councillor Lemko.
Kismet. I think it's a prestigious award to someone who's done so much for our community and is well deserving, and I couldn't be more than happy to put my name behind that nomination. Good job, Tanine.
Excellent. Go ahead, Councillor Orwawa.
And I just wanted to echo those thoughts and just say that at a time where we're seeing there being quite a bit of news about people leaving politics from municipal level, including seeing senior admin moving because of the changing atmosphere that's out there, it's even more important to recognize people who've given long-term, long-standing commitment to the community, so well-deserved.
Well, thank you very much. Well, it's the Alberta Munis Award of Excellence, and I would say that Councillor Rudick has given nothing but excellence. I've never seen her go anything half-hearted or something that she didn't see through. And I know she has been a big supporter of this community and all the different titles and offices that she's held. And we are very happy to put her name forward on this. I hope she doesn't find out. You can't talk about yourself.
I'll recuse myself from voting on this.
Okay.
And it feels a little bit like a wake, but thank you all.
Okay. All those in favor? It was almost unanimous. Thank you all. Okay, next up, we have correspondence from Friends of Ale Horton School Society.
All right, this letter is to the town of Vegreville. Dear Sandra Lang, Mayor McPhee, and town of Vegreville council members. It's regarding the A.L. Horton Elementary School playground replacement. Thank you for the offer to make donations in kind to A.L. Horton School. We really appreciate this generous offer. As part of Elk Island Public School Facilities Regulations and Liability Risk, there is a vendor process, and unfortunately, we are unable to accept donations in kind. We are asking the town of Vegreville to reconsider donating to A.L. Horton Playground Replacement Campaign. As you know, we are fundraising for 3 safe, movable playgrounds. This is a very important community project as the playgrounds are utilized by over 350 students during the school hours and enjoyed by many families and children all year round. The playgrounds will be new and modern, which will be inclusive to accommodate children with diverse disabilities, promote social interaction, promote family engagement, increase community health and well-being, and make it more inviting for new families looking at making our community home for years to come. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Friends of A.L. Horton Elementary School Society.
Okay, I'll take a motion to receive and file. Counselor Bullock makes the motion. Any discussion? I will start with Counselor Curtis, as he flicked his finger.
I can say a few things. Yeah, again, we talked about this at the Ledge meeting. It's unfortunate, but we can't. We'll be setting a precedence again if we were to donate or add funds to this. And the in-kind work is what we give when we can to other requests such as this. And just happy that they were able to make their goal for their first playground. So that shows a lot of hard work on their part, and I hope they continue to keep moving forward with that.
Do we know, did we check with Elk Island Public School Board, this is their policy? That an organization like the town of Vegreville cannot go in and do some in-kind work because we're not on their list? Because next time they phone me when there's a big drift on the sidewalk or that the buses are having a hard time because of the snow buildup, I will actually tell them, well, I thought we weren't allowed on the property.
I don't think it's so much that we are not allowed to do the work. It's the way they set up their tenders and stuff like that, because there's only certain pieces that we could offer for them in kind, and so that's taking away from the people that would be installing the playground, because it won't be Elk Island Public that'll be doing it, it'll be a contractor. So I think that's where the difficulty lies.
But I thought our in-kind work was to dismantle and pull out the piles and stuff is what we had offered. But thank you for that. Counselor Bullock, you were first.
Also, and I do believe from Elk Island Public Schools, they said there was 1, 2, 3 playgrounds, and a couple of the other ones were pushed off down the road to how long they would last yet?
I do believe at the presentation, we were told that they were all coming out at the same time, but we've had confirmation from Elk Island Public that that's not the case, that they are going to stage the dismantling of them as they move forward, correct?
That's correct. That was in the email from the superintendent.
Okay. Counselor Rudy.
Yeah. Further to that point, the letter from the superintendent has some different statistics in terms of the age of the playgrounds than I think is accurate. Understanding that, of course, that they don't have paper records, but I'm quite certain that the CFEP records would be on hand with the government. But all that to say, I feel like there's got to be an instance where if there's an approved vendor, that the municipality would certainly be above any other business that they would be securing. Because I would find it difficult to imagine that even outside of their own staff, that they would not be procuring a core certified contractor to do any of this work. In fact, all of the work that was done previously was done by parents, local businesses, Twin Lakes, for example, and we had a whole bunch of Ukrainian exchange students at that time that were here as part of Katimavik, or I forget what it's called now, but Katimavik was a program where we had Ukrainian exchange students. And I wonder if it's not worth clarifying, because there seems to be some confusion that we're not eligible. I mean, I don't want to leave them in the lurch, but there is limited capacity in which we can assist. So
I could follow up with Elk Island Public, with their facility department and find out what it is. Maybe it would, if it's just the removal of the playground and getting the ground ready for the installation, maybe that's something we could help with, which wouldn't interfere with their tender excuse me, with their tender process. So I could inquire on that, but I think if we just jumping in amidst the build might cause issues.
Well, if we could just find out what is the policy about the town of Vegreville assisting with equipment on a school property? If they're saying no to it, because I know that in the past that I've been phoned about the snow was built up or from them dumping it on the sidewalks or any way we can get in there and pull it out real quick for them, do some things. This sort of goes against what we've heard, so. Okay, so, and again, our message back to the Friends of A.L. Horton Elementary School Society will be, our offer still stands, and we'll check into it. But on dismantling it, we're still willing to help with equipment and some staff to pull some of those piles and stuff out of there and take them to the landfill, no charge, whatever we can do. But we're not about to open that up, a policy of donating money to schools on their playgrounds right now, because we know where that will end up for us, and it's just a fact that we just can't get into that role as building school playgrounds, because once it's done once, it'll never stop. So our offer still stands. So all those in favor of receive and file a letter? Carried. Thank you. You want me to do this one?
No, I can do that, sorry. Okay, the next RCD in front of council is for the declaration of a civic holiday. And the proposal is to declare August 5th, 2024 a civic holiday in the town of Vegreville. So the background is in Section 56 of the Municipal Government Act allows council to declare up to 2 days in a year as civic holidays. The minimum length of a civic holiday is half a day. The financial implications is the financial cost of declaring August 5th, 2024 civic holidays are budgeted for annually. Notification of the civic holiday will be posted on both the town's website and social media pages. And the recommendation is that town council declare August 5th, 2024 a civic holiday in the town of Vegreville.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. So it's Canada Day, correct?
No,
So-
no, it'd be the civic holiday, August long weekend.
Oh, okay. Any comments? Pretty much standard practice. Okay. All those in favor? Carried.
Okay. The next request for council decision is a temporary road closure on 52nd Avenue. And it's to approve a temporary road closure on 52nd Avenue on June 11th, 2024 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So the background on this is the Royal Canadian Legion Branch number 39 has requested a temporary road closure for June 11th, 2024 from 6 to 8 p.m. for the ACR ceremonies. The letters attached. Given that the road closure would occur after regular hours, the Legion has offered to set up and take down the barricades if the town is willing to provide the barricades in advance. Communication strategy is administration will notify the Legion of council's decision. If council accepts administration's recommendation, Public Works will be instructed to provide the barricades to the Legion on June 11th. So the recommendation is that town council approve a temporary road closure on 52nd Avenue on June 11th, 2024 from 6 to 8 p.m. And this closure is for the ARC ceremonies that the Legion is holding with the Mundare Air Cadets.
Okay, take a motion for the recommendation. Counselor Riddick makes the motion. Any comments? Okay, well, I'll go ahead, Counselor Bullock.
No, definitely support closing this for their event and stuff like that. I'm just wondering if we should actually set up barricades and take them down ourselves to make sure they're handled at the times.
Well, I think the deal is that we'll set them off, and the cadets themselves will just set them right by the alley going to just by your place and then by the Legion, and then they do their practicing and their marching, and so if anybody has nothing to do that night, go down and watch. They're pretty good. And we'll pick them up in the morning, sorry. That's what the arrangement was for now, so. Unless you're worried about somebody gonna be stealing our barricades. Probably, but. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Okay, the next RCD is for a handicap parking zone at St. Martin's Catholic School. So the proposal is to permit St. Martin's Catholic School to paint the curb and place signs for a designated handicap parking zone directly south of the school entrance on 54th A Avenue. On May 23rd, 2024, administration received a request from St. Martin's Catholic School Principal Joe Cusi requesting the town paint the curb and place signs at the south entrance to the school on 54th A Avenue, designating a handicap parking zone, and the letters attached. While it is town council who may designate a handicap parking zone, the school would be responsible for the cost of the paint, signs, and labor. Administration has reached out to Principal Cusi and confirmed that Elk Island Catholic School Board is in support of this initiative, and EICS facilities are prepared to complete the curb painting and sign placement. So the communication strategy is administration will respond to Principal Cusi's with council's decision, and the recommendation is that town council permit St. Martin's Catholic School to paint the curb and place signs for a designated handicap parking zone directly south of the school entrance on 54A Avenue.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Councilor Berry makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Berry.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a very busy location, definitely for dropping off students and picking up students, so I think the handicap zone is quite appropriate. I do believe that it may take a bit of educating other drivers not to be using it as a drop-off zone, though. So I think the school will have to monitor that fairly closely, I think, for the first while. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor Rudy.
While I appreciate the offer of the school or Elk Island Catholic School Board to provide the paint and the labor and the signage, I wonder if that's been the case for every other location or party that's asked for disabled or accessible parking. I kind of feel like we've done this everywhere else, whether it's been a downtown business, for example. At Ale Horton, it has accessible parking inside their school ground parking area, so that's a little bit different. But I wonder if in this instance, if we should not be responsible for placing the signage and painting. It's not a significant amount of money, but I also think maybe it's appropriate for us to, as a municipality, to do the painting.
Well, Director Lefebvre explained to us that when we first heard about this, is that in the past, on any public lands, other than town-owned facilities, of course, the library was handled by the town, but any other ask on public streets were paid for by the asking party. So that's where that's been up to now. That's typically that we've seen in schools, it's within their own property, and so we're never involved in those decisions. But this asking for on a public street, and up to now, any other requests that have been made that we've approved, the requesting party has paid for the paint and the upkeep on the sign. There's one thing that I don't know. Does Elk Island Catholic School Board understand that once it receives this designation, that it's not reversible?
Yes, the conversation I had with Principal Kusi is that they are very aware it is a permanent placement of a handicap zone.
And we've talked to Elk Island Catholic Board itself, and they're in favor of this.
He said the board is in favor of having this zone designated.
Okay, well, I mean, we all know how busy it is there, and I would imagine they'll be calling for some bylaw people as soon as it goes in, but to come down and help enforce, help enforce it, so. Is there any other comments regarding this? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, one left.
I have one more RCD for council, and this is a request for council decision to appoint for a Town of Vegreville Library appointment. And the proposal is to appoint Natasha Polachek of the town to the Town of Vegreville Library Board. The members of the Town of Vegreville Library Board have approved the application of Natasha Polachek to serve on the library board. They are recommending that Natasha be appointed to the Town of Vegreville Library Board to serve for a term of 3 years, effective immediately, with the possibility of extension for up to two additional 3-year terms. With the appointment of Natasha to the board, there will be one position remaining to bring the board to full complement. The communication strategy is a letter will be drafted to the Town of Vegreville Library Board and Natasha Polachek acknowledging her appointment to the board. So the recommendation is that Town Council approve the appointment of Natasha Polachek to the Library Board for a 3-year term starting June 10th, 2024, with the possibility of an extension for up to 2 additional 3-year terms.
Thank you. I'll take a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Lemko. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Warwa.
I just wanted to first off thank Natasha and say that, it's been a little while since our board was almost full, so we are getting back to there. The library board does do a really good job with the expression of interest coming in, and they who have subcommittee and have been doing interviews over and above the original submissions. So it's really good to see. I know volunteering isn't always easy to get boards filled, and I'm excited that we've had several opportunities where we have people applying for these open positions.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Well, again, anytime that we see someone step up and volunteer to be on a board as important as the library board and volunteer to make this community a better place to live, we always thank them. So thank you very much, Natasha. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. I've had enough. Okay, next up, council reports, and we're going to start with Councilor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. June 4th, Ledge Committee meeting, and later on June 4th, I was a guest speaker at the Manshed meeting group. Want to discuss just how they're looking at projects, and they're very interested in developing things. So I introduced them to some possible projects that they could do on behalf of the corn maze in terms of cleaning up and repairing some decorations. They're quite interested in doing that. They may also form my decoration committee in the fall and help me actually put the decorations up. So they're interested in doing some projects, and I know that they'll be looking for others as well over the time, and as the group gains a little bit more interest and et cetera. They will be, for the first wall, of course, having to try and find materials and saws and table saws and et cetera to get themselves going. But I think that we can see through the Ag Society and the Corn Maze, I might be able to give them some startup projects to get them rolling. June 5th to 8th, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Conference in Calgary. Sometimes I almost think it's too big. When you get 3,100 people and they're jamming into a room, you start to realize, wow, there's a lot of communities across Canada. And I thought some of the sessions that I sat in were very interesting. Some of the speakers were very interesting. The trade show picked up a few things that we'll pass on to staff. I won't bother talking to them right now. And then tonight's regular council meeting.
So what did you think of the Prime Minister of Canada, his flight from Paris right to Calgary? And
You had to ask me, didn't you? Actually, I thought that was pretty great, in all honesty, that he was at the ceremonies there for D-Day and flew to Calgary to be there in time for a guest speaker. I thought it was rather interesting how they kept that quiet until the last minute. I guess maybe that's partly security. But honestly, I'm a true blue conservative, but he spoke well. So I think that he was a good keynote speaker.
thank you very much. Councillor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. May 28th, I attended the Vegreville Tourism Advisory Board meeting, and I will let the chair of that committee speak to the findings out of that really good meeting. I have lots of notes written here, but I'll just pass them over. On the 29th, I attended the Minburn Building Committee meeting. It was a discussion on the architectural design and some of the things moving forward with that. I believe the surveyors have been out surveying the land. I think we've had the geophysical, geotechnical people out drilling pilot holes to time the soil. So we do have a meeting tomorrow, Wednesday at 1 to follow up where that is. And on May 31st, another MD of Minburn Building Community. It just keeps going on and on and on as the information comes to us on that as we put together the proposal application for the funding. On the 31st, I was fortunate enough to enter the chicken race at the Ag Society event with my colleague, Councillor Curtis. I was happy to say that he was first, and I'd be in a roaster if I was a real chicken. June 4th, the ledge meeting. June 5th, I attended the meeting at the landfill with Ed Guggenheimer, who's the executive director of the Alberta Recycling Management Authority. That was a curbside pickup day. It was interesting to meet with them. They had about 12, 13 staff there besides himself, and they were driving around town picking up the stuff on the curbside. He did say that they had booked 2 days, but they only need one. And simply for the fact that they haven't seen a community like Vegreville that is advanced to the state we are with our recycling. They noticed our blue bins, our blue receptacles in the back alleys, and the close to 30 bins at the by Dairy Queen, and they were more than impressed with what we've done as a community. And they said there's not many communities that are doing that, because they come in and they start picking up all the stuff and educate people, and here they didn't have much to pick up because our community's already doing that recycling. I did mention our VMRF, and he said, would it be possible to go tour that facility? And I was able to get hold of Tony, who met him there, them and their staff, and they went through the facility, and they're more than impressed. And I think Tony will probably have something to say about that. They did mention to me that about the, it's called the PPP Blue Box. It's a single-use products, packaging, and paper products. And we've applied for this program. And that program is funding back to us for our blue bins that are on the front streets. And it's extended producer's responsibility for the end-of-life management of all the products they do. And because we're collecting on their behalf, that there's some funds of money, and he was talking in the $100 million funding model, that we will be able to access some of these funds. And he did mention that he believes that Vegreville has already applied for this. There was a deadline back in last fall, and he believes we've applied for this. And so kudos go out to our recycling team out there, the citizens of Vegreville, for recycling and doing their stuff. That evening, I attended the Legion's 80th anniversary of D-Day. I had the pleasure of being able to speak about D-Day at the Cenotaph and speak on behalf of Mayor McPhee and council, and talk. And after the ceremony there, we went to the Legion and had some cake and cookies and some snacks and socialized for a bit, which was nice to see. This last Saturday, or Sunday actually, June 9th, I went to the airport fly-in breakfast. What a good job they do of cooking pancakes, eggs, and the whole full meal deal. And the amount of planes that came in, and I did talk to a few of the pilots and such, but it was a nice event. The wind wasn't as bad as it could have been, otherwise the planes would have been landing in Lloydminster. And then today I had a webinar, and it was a CMHC and ASHA webinar, and it's the first one. They're starting a pilot, and it's talking about the challenges for funding. Like, we're going through this model right now about putting together our application and being able to submit it and get approval, and the scoring system and all that. And this is the first meeting that discusses about that, and they're trying to put some best practices together and to assist people like us with getting this information and such. So it was the initial meeting. There'll be more coming after that. And that, Your Worship, besides tonight, here I sit.
The 80th anniversary. I've had a lot of positive feedback from the Legion. They probably won't request me ever again, but and again, you know, you probably got a participation medal at the chicken races, so do what you can there. No, I do appreciate you stepping in when we were gone and take that on. I really appreciate it. So, and I'm not joking about the Legion was very appreciative of your words. So, okay, Councillor Warwa.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot for you. Unfortunately, I have been away, but on the 30th, I met with local residents just in regards to some of the concerns that people have had with some of the provincial programs for provincial nominees and how it's impacting some of our residents. And following up from that, on the 5th, I was able to actually have a discussion here in Ottawa and be able to step in as a municipal rep versus on a work situation. And in that conversation, I did share, and there was some consensus from a few people that were in on the conversation, that the shift that is happening at the federal level when it comes to being on a permanent residency, since there is so many points and such a high emphasis put on those that enter under the provincial nominee, that it is creating somewhat of a federal inequity. So it's not equal access to a federal program when your federal program is based on what each individual program's province's nominee program would be, which is one of the things that did seem to resonate in this conversation, that unfortunately, if we say that anybody from any province can access a federal program, but then it can have different points based on province, it's not really the right one. So I'm hoping that that message was heard. Did not just bring forward some concerns with the provincial side of it, but just how it's impacting, and then how some of that disproportionately hits small communities that wouldn't have the resources to assist, and that maybe if they're going to look at that, they could consider allowing municipalities themselves to make suggestions to programs on the federal level. So we'll let you know what more comes of that one. I have only had that and tonight's meeting, as I'm just a little bit away, but I've got a number of meetings day after day when I return, which hopefully is tomorrow or Wednesday.
Well, thank you very much. Councillor Rudick.
Well, since we last met on May 28th, I did a webinar with Equal Voice and FCM on the hybrid work environment for municipal government, both for administration and for elected officials, talking about how it's been helpful to increase the diversity of employees, including elected officials, and was able to use some examples right here at home for being able to retain high-quality employees who might need to be working remotely. And, for example, being able to ensure that we've got young as well as more experienced counselors and a diversity of experiences. So that was that day. May 29th, I had my last FCM Board of Directors meeting to finalize some of the governance procedures and some of the work. And then June 4th to 10th, I was in Calgary for the FCM conference and finishing up my executive responsibilities, chairing governance, HR, and election committee. So there was a wide variety of things that were entailed in that. So some of it was fun, some of it was long. It was great to be able to have Councillor Barry and Mayor McPhee there to be able to be a part of those conversations, and again to be able to connect with people from across the country. I'll just make special notes about some of the attendees that we had. Scott Aitchison from the Conservative Party of Canada, who is the Housing and Communities Shadow Minister. I think that's correct. Maybe that's not right. Yeah. And he was very well received by the attendees, so that was great that he was able to be there. Minister Sean Fraser, who is the Minister of Housing and something else. He has a further title, and got to be the person that was doing the fireside chat interview with him, so that was kind of fun.
I thought you would have stuck it to him more, but you were quite nice to him.
Well, I did remind him as he was saying that it's very important that municipalities are responsible with the funds that they receive, and the federal government needs to be very judicious with the money they expend, that I reminded him that, in fact, the only order of government that must balance their budget every year is municipal government. So
You
we'd
got
be
a
happy.
big applaud for that one, too.
I would be happy to teach them how to do that, so they could call on us anytime. We also did have the Prime Minister, who did open himself up to the 3,100 attendees to ask questions. So needless to say, we didn't share that information beforehand, but we had gone through some extensive security briefing to be able to accommodate that number of people and the Prime Minister, as well as the fact that it's always a contentious time. There were a few protests outside about things that had nothing to do with municipal government. But it was actually thought kind of interesting what people were interested in asking. It was standing room, and the overflow room was full too. Then we also had the leader of the Green Party, Elizabeth May, who was again very willing and understands what happens in municipal government, and good friends with the chair of the Big City Mayor's Caucus, who is Mayor Mike Savage from Halifax. So we had some good discussions with her as well. I want to draw special attention to some of the sponsors that we have, a number of sponsors, including Rogers. So that's actually how I started out the conference was going to a Rogers reception, and wouldn't you know, some of the ministers that we need to talk to, Minister Yassine was there, and some of the other folks like Speaker Cooper, who were all happy to talk a little bit about Vegreville, and Minister Yassine's ministerial staff can't wait for the invitation to come out to Vegreville. So they're expecting the rural tour to happen shortly and have the conversation with the mayor and Councillor Warwa and our staff to be able to have this conversation further. But we also have Intact Insurance as a sponsor, had a very interesting conversation with their VP of Outreach. They have an initiative specifically in Alberta and BC because of the number of tragic fires that we've had in the last little while, and one of their pilot projects is to do fire abatement offerings to individuals that live in a certain zone. So I've asked that she reach out. I connected her with Alberta Munis and some different staff at FCM to be able to provide this out to municipalities. I'm not sure what parallel that they are offering this for, but it is actually a really interesting program where they go out and they don't call it fireproofing, but they prevent any kind of circumstance for individuals in these high-risk fire zones to try to prevent the losses that they've experienced as an insurance provider to not only reduce the number of losses to individuals, but as a larger sector so that we collectively don't pay more for insurance. So I will follow up with that because I actually think that would be a great offering to be able to provide to our community. A lot of talk about resolutions at the conference and some of the goals that we've been able to accomplish in the last year, including one of the resolutions that was put forward about asking for federal legislation to prevent the harassment of elected officials. The latest statistics in Quebec, for example, there's over 800 municipal elected officials that have resigned in the last year, including the high-profile resignation of Mayor France Bellil from Gatineau, and it's based on the amount of physical threat and harassment that they're receiving. So that was one of the resolutions, as well as protecting biodiversity and some others. We have new board members for Alberta. We have new board members for across the country, but back here at home, Charlene Moore from Lac-La-Biche County and Mayor Kathy Heron from City of St. Albert are the two elected representatives for Alberta Urban representatives. And the third vice president was elected from the Prairies and Territories Caucus. Mayor Mike Yargeau from Penhold ran, Councillor Katie Berghofer from Strathcona County also ran, and Councillor Kathy Valentino from Thompson, Manitoba ran. And Kathy Valentino from Thompson was the winner of that position. So as she enters the executive, I leave. So at the end of yesterday's annual general meeting and the close of the meeting, then my duties concluded as well. So it was great to be able to have some colleagues there. It was great to be doing this in a prairie location. Unfortunate that we had a water main break, so it was a very sympathetic crowd to be able to understand conserving water with a bunch of local officials. But I want to say thank you to everybody here that's made it possible. To me, it's been very personally enriching, but I'm also really gratified by the amount of access that we've been able to provide in terms of information, best sharing of practices, as well as the number of grants that we've been able to access since I ran for the board first in 2017. So thank you very much to council, administration, and former council, and especially to my family who have made it possible. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bullock.
Thank you, Mayor. It's kind of a tough act to follow this time around, but anyways, on June 4th, a legislative committee meeting. June 9th, I did attend the Vegreville Flying Club Flying Breakfast. Really well attended, well over 100 attendees for the breakfast. Definitely over 35 to 40 aircraft attended, from gliders to a biplane, which was pretty interesting. And glider was towed in and released and landed at our airport as well. Biplane, there was some pretty interesting home-built aircraft. stuff like that. And then I had a good discussion with fly-in club members, Jordan Stefanuk, and he had a lot to say on the positive outlook on the airport for Vegreville. And Corey, one of the new hangar owners out there, brought his business to Vegreville here as well with agricultural spraying. They're very excited to see what they could help promote the airport to come. They want to see it flourish. They are interested in working with other community groups, no matter what was said in the past. They said they believe it's for everybody. So, and I think we could be looking forward to a presentation from the Vegreville Flying Club to just let us know what they're about and their thoughts in the future and what they would like to see and help promote Vegreville. Even Councillor Lemko, the snowbirds were brought up. So, very interesting, great day. A lot of people from town I seen out there and the surrounding community. Lots of kids enjoying the show. The discussion came up about medevac service, where there's been quite a few medevacs coming out of going through our airport. So that, and then there was even one helicopter flying by that stopped in for fuel, didn't even know there was a flying going on. So there was a few helicopters as well. So the skies were busy, and we were swarmed. It was pretty interesting watching them circle in and land, like all one after another and after another. So really interesting. So it was a really good thing for Vegreville. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. Start on May 28th with the tourism board meeting. So I have a few stats from there because I am the stat guy, I like my stats. So Canada Day planning is going very well. 39 vendors so far have signed up for the market. Last year we had quite a few as well. I'm hoping for some better weather this year for sure. 3 food trucks. So they are Cheesy Q, Doppler's Food Truck, and Chef House. So there's at least 3 for now. As far as the color run goes, there's 50 registered applicants right now, and I think they have a max of 300. So still some time to get in and register for that. And then for the entertainment, Doug Robb, who is singer, guitar player. He used to be in a band. He does some solo work, and we actually saw his repertoire of the songs that he will play, and they're all over the map. Rock, country, a little bit of punk, all that stuff. So it'll be good for anybody with a musical taste there. Again, we talked about last time the Wi-Fi at the park, so that's moving forward. It's not in and done yet, but hoping to have it done by Canada Day, so that's moving forward. As far as the Vic goes, the boats are in the water, and they've been getting used quite a bit, which is awesome. And just a few stats for this is for the first 4 weeks. So camping was 169 camping nights were done. People roaming in the park was just under 5,000. Walk-ins to the Vic was 1,038. People counseled, so people that asked for information, were just under 500. And that was in the Vic. And then off-site was 97. 58 phone calls. Borrow bikes a little low at 7. But weather was not very cooperative in the first 4 weeks. So I think that's a pretty good start. As well, the ice cream sales are doing very well. First 3 weeks, just around $200, and the past week when this meeting was done was over 720. So when the sun comes out, the scoops start scooping, it seems. So that's good to hear. A few other things from Go East. They released their travel guide last month. In the first 3 weeks, they had 30,000 copies go out, which is incredible. They had some volunteers. They had 9 vehicles filled to the brim, and they took them to their respective areas across the province and delivered them. And some of the places they go, Kevin was saying that they're like, you can't get here soon enough. Like, they just fly off the shelves. So it's a really good product to help promote Go East. What else we have? Food bank. So the food bank is set up in their temporary location. It's at the old RJV building by the Pot of Gold, and I think they're there for 6 to 8 months while they try and find something else out. So I know they're doing some fundraising ideas and trying to secure a permanent location, but for now they are up and running again for the next 6 to 8 months, so that is good to hear. I think that's what I have for that. Next up for me was on the 31st. I was at the chicken race at the Egg Society. I don't know what he's saying. He didn't come in last, so I don't know that you would have been in the roaster or not. Pierogies and jam would have been in the roaster. It was fun. The attendance rate at that time too, it was a kind of a cloudy day too, so it wasn't that many people there, but that's okay. There was less people laughing at us, so that was all right. June 4th, we had our ledge meeting. June 7th, I attended the Town of Vegreville Family Barbecue that was held out at the Event Center. It was put on by the social committee. A little bit less of an attendance than I think they were looking for. It was a very windy and gloomy day, but there were still people out there playing games and enjoying the area. I think I sat on every piece of equipment 3 times with my little fella there. He likes the tractors and combines, so we were running around the whole area, so it was nice. And today's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, so for myself, on May the 28th, Jameson and myself had a Teams meeting with some senior members of Global Canada. They have missions all over the country, all over the world, especially in our ag products, selling and promoting our agricultural industry, and we've met them and at the Economic Developers of Alberta's conference, and we have been liaison quite a bit with them, and they've come up with a bit of a strategy for us, and it's looking very positive with that group, and we're very glad that we met with them there and spent some time with them, and they're more than willing to help us out here and try to bring some foreign investment into the park in the smart ag, and we've had quite a few meetings with him, and we're getting to know his staff a lot better, and what services are available, and it's amazing what they can offer to a business or to a municipality in support over the world, all over the world. So that afternoon, on May the 28th, I sat on the board of the Crossroads Economic Alliance, a committee meeting, and for those that don't know, this is the new regional economic development alliance that we are part of with the County Minburn, Innisfree, and the town of Manville, and Vegreville's involved. And I just like to say that there's a survey right now that they have out there for businesses within the county, and this data is very important to how we make decisions for this region, for the whole region, when moving forward with an economic development plan. So if you haven't taken the survey as a business owner in the county of Minburn, please take the time. It's a little lengthy, but when you're collecting data and trying to make decisions, these are very important surveys that the data, it comes from everywhere in all different sectors of business. And there will be one coming out in the fall, I do believe, for residents and residents within the county and the municipalities with the county. And again, this data is important as we try to put a game plan together for this region moving forward. On June the 4th, I did an interview with Post Media. They are doing an article right now on our new Prosperity Park and with our new announced partner, AJN, and just where we're trying to get to with the type of businesses and where we want to be at the park. So that will be out soon, and that's going to be in the National Post, that article, correct, yep. June the 4th, we had our ledge meeting. On the 5th to the 8th, Councillor Barry and myself got up with past president of FCM, Councillor Rudick in Calgary, and we did some networking, that's for sure. Yeah, it is a little large at times, and some of the issues don't seem to really, that are brought up are not the same issues that we share with the big city mayors. But, I mean, again, there is always input for smaller municipalities like ourselves, and we felt that we were represented within the group. It was nice getting different perspectives from all over the country, different mayors, and just plain councillors, and it's kind of amazing how you meet people that you never thought you'd meet again. You maybe knew when you were 10 years old, and you get to meet them again. I will say that it was the first time in, I would say, the Prime Minister Trudeau's career where he sat at a microphone and said that the energy industry of Alberta has been driving the Canadian economy for quite a while, and he looks forward to continuing with Alberta's energy sector driving the Canadian economy. I don't know if it was said because we were in Alberta, but I've never actually heard him say it on a public stage before. Again, he was well polished and I don't think the questions were planted at all. And there was a little bit of heckling, but it was very respectful most of the time. And then Councillor Rudick's interview with the Minister of Housing went well, and I do believe that we just need to hook up with the province now and see how we're going to get access to those funds. So we'll start a new campaign now that Councillor Rudick has taken a step back. We'll put her in charge of this, and of course we'll show all the assistance that we can. Now that she knows the Federal Minister of Housing and who signs the check. I was just sitting there smiling the whole time when she was talking to him. It was going to be good. Anyway, it was, all in all, it was good, and it was nice to be there to support Councillor Rudick as well. And I don't know who's been downtown Calgary lately for a few days and walking around down there, man, it has changed. It is very impressive. You can't even see the Calgary Tower from anywhere. It's just covered all the time. It's not part of the skyline because you can't see it. Oh, yeah. Every once in a while you walk down a street and you'll get a glimpse of it. But yeah, it's beautiful. They all have all kinds of different design work out in front of their buildings, and some of the buildings are very unique. And the water break was a little untimely, that's for sure, but all in all, it was a very good time. And then we're back tonight at tonight's council meeting. So thank you all again for what you do. And it looks like we're at the end. Is there any other business of council? Oh, go ahead, CAO Ling.
Just to roll back to the small business tax, I do have some information.
Sure.
Okay, so the discount for the small business tax is 20%. Okay, now these are roll numbers. They're not businesses. They're businesses, but we use roll numbers upstairs. So in 2023, 109 roll numbers were placed on the small business tax. In 2024, we have 66. Okay, so that is a decrease of 65 that did not apply this year, that applied in 2023. And in 2024, we have 22 brand new roll numbers that have been added to the list. So there is a substantial difference, but there was education out there as evident by the 22 new roll numbers that have been added.
Okay, thank you for getting that information. Again, is there any other business to council? Go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
Sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier. This weekend coming up is the Father's Day event for the Ag Society, and I know that they are still looking for volunteers. If there's anybody that would like to help out on Sunday, that they're asked to call the Ag Society office, and they're looking for some more people because they expect thousands of people like they usually have, and it's supposed to be fairly nice weather. So if anybody's looking for something to do this Father's Day, you can call.
Okay. Then I adjourn this meeting at 8:10.